Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the girls basketball regional finals in the Class AA. I am here today for the matchup between the Section 1 champs, the White Plains Tigers, and the champions of Section 9, Monroe-Woodbury Crusaders, presented by NFHS Network. I'm your host, Braden Barukowitz, and we'll cut to the national anthem here in a moment, and then we will do the introductions, and we'll cut to a commercial right before tip, and then we'll be back. So thank you for being with us, and stay tuned.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Yorktown High School for this Class AA Girls Regional Final, as it features the Monroe-Woodbury Crusaders of Section 9. Model appropriate behavior, use appropriate language, support teams making only positive comments, and respect the judgment of the officials. Also, noisemakers of any kind are prohibited. Thank you for your cooperation and enjoy the game. And now at this time, if everyone will please stand, if capable, and remove your caps as we honor America with the singing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight are the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming, and were on his gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and
To introduce the starting lineup for both teams. First, let's meet the Crusaders of Monroe-Woodbury High School. And one guard, sophomore, number 3, and another guard, senior, number 24, Layla Green. And another guard, senior, number 11, Olivia Shippey. And one forward, sophomore, number 14, Sienna Reed. And the other forward, senior, number 15, Ariana Extraakis. With the coaches, your review, Willie Earl, and head coach Jay Powers, the Monroe-Woodbury Crusaders.
And we're back for tip-off. The section, or no section, the state regional game championship underway. And it'll be Monroe-Woodbury ball. And Ariana Exer-Hawkes. Exer-Hawkes gets it back. Now looking for Shippey inside, no good. And now Navy Plata looking up court. She's got Aaliyah McIver. Now Plata gets it back. Moved around. India Newman inside. Out to Reggio. Or out to McGuire for three. Rebounded by Layla Green. Green going left. Now moves it. And Exer-Hawkes saves it. Now stolen. And Navy Plata with the fast break finish. And that's 2-0 Tigers, just like that. And driving. Shippey, offensive foul. White Plains ball. And we'll take another look. Shippey driving. Good positioning by Isabella McGuire to draw that foul. And now White Plains looking to keep it going here. Plata now to Sequoia Lane, cross court. India Newman is fouled in the act, and she'll head to the line and shoot two. And a good take by India Newman. But too much hand contact by Sienna Feely. And Newman will shoot two. The first one by Newman is no good. And Newman's second is also no good. But she gets her own rebound. Now McIver in the corner. Isabel McGuire for three. McGuire for two, actually. And Feline will bring it up for Monroe. Feline. And good defense by a Navy Plata. And the shot by Shippey is good. The pull-up jumper. And Monroe responds. Inside Sequoia Lane. Out to McGuire. Tipped loose. And a steal for Monroe. Monroe. Feline now moves it to Shippey. And now Feline for three, and it's good! Madison Feline responds with a three of her own. And now McIver for three, and threes at both ends of the court. Aaliyah McIver, the rider commit, drills that three. And Feline now to Shippey. And ball is tied up. Jump ball. And good work by Sienna Feely to get in the mix and tie that ball up for Monroe. And the referee's timeout. And we'll take another look. Good defense by White Plains. Shippey looking to move it inside. Oh no, this is the pull-up jumper by Shippey. It was Cash. Now Olivia Shippey. Feline's three. The swish doesn't get sweeter than that. White Plains up by 2 here early in this one. Monroe has battled through a lot of adversity this season. As said by and White Plains looking to go to work here. The ball is tipped, stolen. Good job by Sienna Feely to cause that disruption. Shippey, guarded by India Newman. Now moves it to Layla Green. Stolen by Sequoia Lane. And Lane steps out of bounds. And that'll be Monroe ball. And Shippey will bring it up for Monroe. Fast start for both these teams. Exarchakis inside, can't finish. Good defense by Sequoia Lane. And Aaliyah McIver with it. McIver, good crossover in the corner for 3. No good. And Navy Plata. And that'll stay with White Plains. And McIver inbounds. Gets it back. McIver for 3. It's Cash. Aaliyah McIver. McIver with a pair of 3s to start this one. Feline looking to respond. Now to Exarchakis inside. Ariana Exarchakis at the rim, down court. And Navy Plata with the finish. White Plains not taking the foot off the throttle. Layla Green for 3. No good. Rebound. Shippey. Olivia Shippey with the offensive rebound and the finish for Monroe. And a timeout, White Plains. This one's got a lightning pace, folks. And time for Coach Carter to talk some things over with his players. Good defense. Exarchakis finished through it. And then the full court pass by Aaliyah McIver to Navy Plata made that look easy. And maybe something on the court. And the Yorktown Athletics Department staff taking care of that in conjunction with an assistant coach of White Plains, and it seems the problem has been resolved. And we'll get things going again here in the first quarter. Just under 3 minutes remaining. Aaliyah McIver will bring it up for White Plains. And Annalise Reggio checking in for White Plains, and a travel on India Newman. That'll be Monroe ball. Shippey will bring it up for Monroe. Hands off to Layla Green. Madison Feline for three. No good. Aaliyah McIver with it, hands off to Reggio. Now Sequoia Lane, stolen by Olivia Shippey. Good pass up to Feline, and the finish. Monroe running the fast break to a tee. And inside, pass is tipped. Reggio, that's Monroe ball. And we'll take a second look at Shippey's steal. And good vision to find Feline. And back with Monroe. And Shippey guarded by Newman. Now to Feline. Feline coming off the screen. Layla Green inside. Feline steps back for three. No good. Sequoia Lane with the rebound. And Shippey giving White Plains some problems. McIver ends up with it. Now to Navy Plata. Aaliyah McIver driving out to India Newman for three. No good. Rebound Layla Green. Madison Feline will handle it. Feline, the good pass to Shippey. Rejected by Sequoia Lane. And Sequoia Lane said, not in our house. Shippey with a good cut. Lane was having none of it. And Shippey to inbound. Finds Layla Green. Layla Green. And big contact on the floor. Offensive foul on Monroe. And a good defensive effort by White Plains. Sequoia Lane inside, looking for Reggio, stolen by Layla Green, and a foul on Annalise Reggio. And Monroe we're gonna get back. Shippey moves it to Layla Green. Green. And White Plains has done a great job not allowing Monroe to drive, and a forced error. Feline with the steal and the finish. And a White Plains player still down. It's a Navy Plata. And we'll take a moment as there's some contact after that last play. The steal by White Plains, and then immediately after, Madison Feline picks off the pass. And you see the shoulder hitting a Navy Plata in the face. Plata still down. And we'll take a moment here. I'm Braden Barukowitz. This is the New York State basketball tournament on NFHS Network. Thank you for being with us, and we will return when the game resumes. And we're back. Both teams returning to the floor. Monroe with the lead, up by 1. Game's extremely tight. MacIver will bring it up for White Plains. Now cross court, India Newman throws it back to MacIver. MacIver collects it, 3 seconds. Now for 3, Capri Damara, no good. And a good quarter for both teams. Monroe with a 1-point lead. I'm Braden Berukowitz. Thank you for being with us. It's the New York State basketball tournament on NFHS Network. And we'll cut to a commercial, and we'll be back for the second quarter. And we're back. Monroe up by 1. It'll be Monroe ball as well. And Feline inbounds. Good to see a Navy Plata back on the floor for White Plains. Feline with a good cut and tied up. Good job by Sienna Feely to tie it up. And Feline says, hey, good pass, Layla. My bad on that one. And inside White Plains, Sequoia Lane out of bounds. That'll be Monroe ball. And Shippey will bring it up. Feline. And the screen from Exarchakis. And a foul on Capri Damara. And Shippey to inbound off the foot of Aaliyah MacIver. And that'll stay with Monroe. Shippey to inbound again. And looking for Feline, tipped by a Navy Plata. And that'll roll out of bounds. No, kept in by Shippey. And what an effort by Plata. Feline. And a travel on Feline. And what a move by Feline. Referees correct with the call. That was a travel. Plata moves it to MacIver. MacIver pulling up. Some contact on the wrist. Layla Green with the rebound. And Green been a force defensively on the boards as well. Just what Monroe's looking for. Shippey moves it back to Feline. And a travel by Feline on back-to-back possessions. And scoreless so far in the second quarter are both teams. MacIver with it. She gets it back, driving left, guarded by Layla Green. Here comes the double. Sequoia. And now for 3, MacIver no good. Reggio moves it. Tipped. MacIver comes down with it. Now to Demara for three. No good. And Layla Green again on the defensive end. Demara tips that pass out of bounds. And Feline the inbound. Layla Green. Shippey inside to Exarchakis, and Exar's off. Exarchakis can't finish. Great pass from Shippey inside, just the look that Monroe's looking for. And what a pass by MacIver to Sequoia Lane, and the finish. And beautiful work by White Plains to open up the scoring in the second quarter. Shippey now going right to Layla Green at the top of the key. And Shippey staying with it. And won by White Plains. And Navy Plata takes some contact, still with it. And Plata will slow it down. 5 minutes remaining. MacIver for three. No good. Reggio battling with Green. Green will come down with it. Exarchakis hands it off to Aaliyah MacIver, who will pick it up. Now move it to Reggio. Saved by Aaliyah MacIver. Now a Navy Plata for three, and it's good! And what a play by Aaliyah MacIver. First to get the steal, then to save it on the other end. And then a Navy Plata finishes off with a three. Layla Green for three, and it's cash! Layla Green. And just as White Plains was starting to pull away, Layla Green says, not today. And cuts the deficit to one. And she'll get a steal, cross court. Layla Green going all the way. And it was out of bounds. That'll be Monroe ball. Good steal by Layla Green. But Aaliyah MacIver with the heads-up play to tip it out of bounds. Exarchakis on the inbound from Shippey. Now Shippey will move it to Layla Green. Green to Exarchakis inside, and too many steps for Exarchakis. MacIver with it. And Demara, White Plains, has been getting the shots that they want recently. And for three, Reggio, no good. MacIver can't come down with this rebound. And that'll be Monroe ball. The Crusaders struggling offensively this quarter. Just one field goal made, and that was a three by Layla Green. Green. And one, or waved off. And the referees will confer. And the shot will count. And you see Layla Green lowering that shoulder to get inside, finishes the bucket. And a timeout on the floor. And I believe Layla Green will not shoot free throws, but it'll be White Plains ball coming out of the timeout. Both teams returning to the floor. Monroe with a 1-point lead. White Plains knocking on the door. And Navy Prado will bring it up for White Plains. Aaliyah McIver now to Sequoia Lane. And good moves by Aaliyah McIver. Reggio in the corner. Now to Sequoia Lane, and the jump shot is no good. Tied up, and that'll be Monroe ball. And the possession arrow will now flip in favor of White Plains. And White Plains going full court press for the first time tonight. Let's see how Monroe attacks it. Extra Shawkus. Caught up Shippey, will run away with it. And a good pass by Shippey. And the pass by Zoe Hudson is off target. And a turnover from Monroe. Aaliyah McIver with it. She moves it. Navy Plata. McIver with a good pass to Sequoia Lane. Lane on the putback, and it's good. Sequoia Lane. And Shippey now with it. White Plains has retaken the lead. And a bunch of lead changes this quarter. Shippey looking to find some room. Zoe Hudson moves it back to Shippey. Layla Green looking for Zoe Hudson. Just a little miscommunication. And it's not the first time that the Crusaders have been on different pages tonight. White Plains looking to assert control. McIver looking for Reggio in the corner. Tipped. Stolen back by White Plains, and Plata handle it now to Sequoia Lane inside. Reggio, lots of contact, and Layla Green will slow it down for Monroe. Capri Damara. Now the pass to Extra Shawkus, and a foul called against White Plains. The foul. And Shippey will inbound. Feline with it. And a travel on Feline. And Feline has been whistled for a bunch of travels tonight. And turnovers plaguing the Crusaders in this first half. And you wonder without them what the score of this game would be. Capri Damara for three, no good. Pulled in by Zoe Hudson, now tipped. Feline will collect it. Now to Layla Green. Green will slow it down. Shippey. Hands off to Feline. Feline driving right. Loses her footing. And that's White Plains ball. And Feline maybe a little shaken up. We'll try to walk it off. And Feline, something on that left leg clearly bothering her. She's trying to work through it. And inside, Sequoia Lane. The bank is open. And that'll bring us to halftime with the Tigers on top by 3. I'm Braden Barukowitz. This is the AA Regional Championship game presented by NFHS Network. Thank you for being with us, and we'll be back for the second half. We are back for the third quarter. The Tigers of White Plains on top by 3 over the Monroe-Woodbury Crusaders. Crusaders hanging around, not going anywhere though. And in the corner, a Navy Plata, and it's good! A Navy Plata opening up the scoring for White Plains. And a low-scoring first half, or I should say second quarter. The first quarter, where most of the points came, was a high-scoring one. But both teams stalled offensively in that second quarter. Sequoia Lane, rejected by Layla Green, called a jump ball, and that'll be Monroe ball. Exarchakis to inbound. And Shippey going to work, guarded by McIver. Layla Green inside Exarchakis, and a travel against Exarchakis. And McIver will bring it up for White Plains. McIver, cross court to Demara. Demara for 3. This one is good. And a timeout from Monroe. The Tigers with a pair of 3s to open up the half. Leaves Monroe reeling. And McIver found Plata in the corner, and a Navy Plata did the rest. And McIver also found Capri Demara, and 2 assists for McIver, 2 threes for White Plains, lands them up by 9. And a big shift as Monroe led at the end of the first quarter. White Plains reasserted themselves in that second quarter, and now in the third quarter, the Tigers, who are unbeaten since the 30th of December, are back in the driver's seat where they've been for many games this season. The last time the Tigers were out, they defeated Albertus Magnus, who has a handful of Division I commits on their squad. But so did the Tigers, and here they are today in a good spot. Exarchakis hands it back off to Shippey, guarded by McIver, and the double comes. Shippey finds Exarchakis, stolen by White Plains, and a timeout, a travel against Sequoia Lane. And Feline inbounds. Exarchakis rejected by Sequoia Lane. And we'll take a second look at that. Sequoia Lane with the rejection, but whistled for a foul. Exarchakis will shoot 2. And the first free throw by Exarchakis is no good. And the second by Exarchakis is good. Reggio in the corner moves it to Aaliyah McIver. And tied up, stolen by Monroe. Feline for three. No good. MacIver with the rebound, takes a look up at the scoreboard. Reggio in the corner, now a Navy Plata for three. No good. That'll be Monroe ball as it rolls out of bounds. Exarchakis inbounds to Shippey. And we'll give it back to Exarchakis. Now Shippey with a good cut. Lots of contact. And that's going White Plains' way. A charge against Olivia Shippey. And Reggio in great position to take that contact. Gets her team possession. MacIver with it. Now Plata. And lots of ball movement for White Plains here. MacIver gets rid of it. Now Plata to Reggio. Reggio going up. And Lane can't come down with it. Off the foot of Feline. And that'll be White Plains ball. And White Plains fans calling for a shot clock reset. And they're going to get it. MacIver moves it to Plata. And Navy Plata now to Damara. Damara, pass stolen by Shippey. Shippey slows it up, now moves it to Feline. Now Layla Green snatched by Capri Damara. Damara on the break with the finish. And great defensive play by Capri Damara to steal it away from Layla Green. And some contact. No whistle, and that'll be White Plains ball. And we'll take a second look at that steal by Damara and the finish, and a timeout from Monroe on the floor. And White Plains with all the momentum. And White Plains some technical difficulties we're enduring though. And the camera panning away from play. For three, MacIver no good. Out of bounds against White Plains. That'll be Monroe ball. And just to take you what happened, to take you through what happened through the technical difficulties, a member of the White Plains student section dropped their phone onto the lift that our cameraman David Berry is currently on. And it shook the entire lift, and that's what caused the technical difficulties. Everything has been settled now. White Plains on top by 10. And the Tigers are in the driver's seat. Monroe looking to come back. And a steal by White Plains. MacIver gets it back from Damara in the corner to Plata for three. No good. And White Plains treading on put-away territory, and I know it's a little bit early to say that. And wow, lots of contact, and Navy Plata on the body check from Olivia Shippey, and Shippey a little shaken up as well. And maybe looking at a technical, that body block by Olivia Shippey. And the Navy Plata still down. And we'll pan away. I'm Brandon Barukowitz. This is the New York State Basketball Tournament on NFHS Network. Thank you for being with us. And we'll take a moment here, and we'll return when the game resumes. And both teams have returned to the floor. And a travel called against Monroe. And hopefully a Navy Williams is all right, or a Navy Plata is all right. Took a big hip check from Shippey and flew into the scoreboard. Damara for three, and it's cash! Capri Damara for three. Shippey touching that backcourt line, and a turnover against Monroe. And looking back at that, looking back and you see Shippey's foot definitely hits the line. That's a backcourt violation. McIver tipped up in the air by Shippey, and the steal. Now to Feline. Feline fouled by Damara, but a worth it foul. And Shippey with a great defensive effort and a great pass to Feline. And you see Damara reaches in, gets a lot of contact on the hand. Deserving of the foul. Feline hits the first. Feline hits both. Monroe has only scored 3 points this quarter, all coming via the line. Exarchakis hit a free throw earlier, and Feline hit both of those. And Monroe has just been very offensively stagnant this quarter. Reggio with the pump fake. Capri Damara again for three, and it's good! Capri Damara with a barrage of threes here in the third quarter. And White Plains running away with this game. And a lot to like on this White Plains Tigers roster. A travel against Layla Green. And the wheels falling off for the Crusaders. Monroe, no field goals made in the quarter. And all their points coming via the free throw line. And White Plains not going away. Capri Damara for three. The heat check is no good. Out of bounds. That'll stay with White Plains. Aaliyah McIver to inbound. Now to India Newman. Inside to Sequoia Lane. Sequoia Lane couldn't handle that pass. Feline would dribble cross court, and the Crusader is in desperate need of some offense. And Exer Shock is inside, can't finish. Tied up, going up, jump ball. That'll be White Plains ball. And Monroe, still no field goals in the corner. White Plains clamping down defensively. McIver for three, no good. And Shippey looking to get some room. Now to Zoe Hudson. Feline going left. And one, Madison Feline. And Feline with a good move, creating some room, leaving her defender in the dust, and then takes the contact from Reggio and finishes. And what a play by Madison Feline. And Feline looking to complete the and one. No good. Offensive rebound. Snagged by Feely. And Feline gets it back. Shippey moves it to Layla Green. Layla Green now to Zoe Hudson. Hudson looking inside. Looking for Feely, stolen by Capri Damara. McIver, now to Reggio inside, can't be finished off. And Feline, the only field goal for her team in the quarter. Zoe Hudson, top of the key, now to Madison Feline. Feline from deep. Out of bounds. Off the scoreboard. McIver will bring it up. White Plains can hold for the last shot if they choose. See what they do. And the pass from India Newman off target. We'll give it back to Monroe. Exer-Shakis to Layla Green, 5 seconds. Green goes down court to Feline. Feline, and off target. And at the end of the third quarter, White Plains in complete control, leading by 12 over the Crusaders of Monroe. I'm Braden Barukowitz, and this is a NFHS presentation. And we'll go to commercial, and we'll be back for the fourth quarter. returning for the fourth quarter, both teams. Monroe trailing by 12. Looking to make a comeback here. Game not totally out of reach. A comeback could be in store. Their huddle got very intense during the break. Exershakis inside, looking to go to work on Lane. Exershakis can't finish. And Exershakis, Sequoia Lane's been bottling her up all night. And a push. And the Navy Prada returns to the floor after being shaken up earlier. And she'll come right to get the ball. Prada now to Damara for three. Capri Damara lighting up the stat sheet. And Damara making Monroe pay all night. And the pass by Feline off target. And the turnovers working against Monroe. Damara moves it to Reggio. Looking inside for Lane, can't find her. Shippey will run away with it. Shippey moves it to Layla Green. Shippey driving to the hoop. The shot by Shippey, no good. Offensive foul on Olivia Shippey. And Shippey, not a lot of contact. I don't know if that warranted the offensive foul. And you see this frustration from Shippey immediately following the call. Her team trails by 15. Needs to maintain possession, and Navy Prada for three, and it's good! And with 6 minutes and 22 seconds, White Plains with their largest lead of the night as it stands at 18, and you see Prada holding that jump shot form. And a timeout for Monroe. White Plains running away with this game, 41-23, the Tigers lead. Monroe looking to do anything to stop this run that White Plains has been on since halftime. And Monroe only has completed one field goal since half, and it's not the statistic you're looking for when you're looking to advance to the state semifinal. White Plains and MacGyver recovers it. Looking inside, Zoe Hudson all over MacGyver. MacGyver loses the handle, picked up by a Navy Prada. And Navy, the spin. Shippey with the rebound. Layla Green for three, no good. And the Navy Prada with the rebound. And the way that Monroe's offense has grown so stagnant, we're in dagger territory for White Plains. And Sequoia Lane, offensive rebound, another offensive rebound. Capri Damara harassed, tied up. And that's White Plains ball. And as we approach the 5-minute mark, and Zoe Hudson's still down. And Hudson will be subbed out for Sienna Feely. MacGyver will inbound. And a pass to Capri Damara. Aaliyah MacGyver, great pass. And White Plains up by 20. And complete domination in the second half from White Plains. Feline's shot is off. And a foul on the floor against White Plains. And inbounding Monroe. Feline with it. And since halftime, Exarchakis and one. And as I was about to say, since halftime, White Plains outscoring Monroe 21-7, I believe, after that shot by Exarchakis. She'll head to the line and shoot another. And Monroe, Exarchakis can't convert on the free throw, and if Monroe wants any chance to get back in this, they have to be going full court press. I mean, 4 minutes and 45 seconds is not a lot of time, and a foul against Shippey running through the screen. And Shippey with her fourth foul, I believe. Plata splits the double, moves it to Reggio, and on the baseline, Reggio is fouled. And Reggio will be at the line. White Plains not in the bonus, but I frankly am not sure why Reggio is at the line. It was not a shooting foul, or unless, yeah, I believe that White Plains is actually in the bonus. And the first free throw by Reggio is no good. And the second free throw by Reggio is good. And Shippey will bring it up for Monroe. And Monroe has got to go. They don't have a lot of time to waste. Clock is tight. Feline looking inside for Exarchakis, and another turnover from Monroe for what's been a tough night offensively for the Crusaders. And Plata with it, stolen by Feline, tied up, and that'll be Monroe ball. Shippey inbounds to Feline. Feline to Layla Green for three, no good. And can't be saved by Isabella Cummings. looks like White Plains will begin to empty the bench. And they'll put in some of these seniors, I believe. Feline for three, no good. And McIver moves it to Plata. Capri Damara hands off to Plata, to Cummings. The shot no good, rebounded, stolen by Shippey. Shippey stepped out of bounds. And a emphatic timeout for Monroe. 3:27 remaining. White Plains on top by 19. I'm Brandon Barukowitz, and this is a NFHS presentation, the New York State High School Basketball Tournament. Thank you for being with us, and I'll be back after the timeout. And both teams returning to the floor. Aaliyah McIver still in for White Plains despite the commanding lead. Plata getting right to the lane, can't convert. And Feline will hand it off to Hudson. Layla Green with the floater, no good. And McIver will slow it down. And White Plains looking to put this one to rest. McIver, and look for White Plains to use up all the shot clock on these coming possessions, given the score. McIver is fouled in the act. She'll head to the line and shoot two. And if you can hear those chants, White Plains in a good place to advance to the state semifinals. And the second free throw by McIver is good. Aaliyah McIver having a game. I cannot get you the exact amount on her point statistic, but I imagine she's over 20. And Exarchakis with the push. And that'll be White Plains ball, 2:18 remaining. And not sure what the discussion. And they will inbound at this end, at the Monroe end instead. And I'm completely wrong. White Plains is in the bonus, so Isabella Cummings will head to the line. And the first one is good. And Cummings' second free throw, no good. And Shippey moves it to Green, inside to Exarchakis, and the shot is good. And we're inside of 2 minutes. And MacGyver cross court to Cummings. And Capri Damara again for 3. And Capri Damara has hit a lot of threes tonight. And that's just the plain fact of it. And White Plains will empty the bench. Timeout Monroe. And White Plains can just about put this one to bed. The Tigers up by 23, their largest lead of the game. Under 90 seconds remaining. And we're waiting for Plata to inbound. And White Plains deploying the senior lineup. And that pass picked off for Monroe. And I believe Monroe is going seniors as well as Aaliyah MacGyver. MacGyver with the steal and another timeout. Or a travel against MacGyver. And White Plains emptying the bench. And what a performance by White Plains. Aaliyah MacGyver, a Navy Plata, and Capri Damara combined. And they led the Tigers to victory in a travel against Milan Reagan. But what a performance by White Plains here today. The Tigers will be headed to Troy, New York to the state semifinals. That'll also be presented by NFHS Network, so thank you. Thank you to NFHS Network for the opportunity to be on these games today. It's been an absolute pleasure to be here with you today. As White Plains dribbles out the final seconds. And the game clock in front of the shot clock by maybe 0.1 seconds. And the three, no good. Offensive rebound. And a foul on the floor. Reagan will head to the line and shoot some free throws. The shot by Reagan is good. And the freshman misses the second. And congratulations to the Tigers, AA regional champions. And they're headed to Troy. I'm Braden Barukowitz, and this is the New York State High School Basketball Tournament on LocalLive. It has been my honor to be here with you for these 2 games. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you to NFHS Network for allowing me to be on these games. Hopefully I will be back sometime soon. Thank you so much for joining me. It has been an absolute pleasure. Congratulations to the Tigers, and I'll see you again next time.
Once again, congratulations to both until next time, I'll see you.